of issues, and we're going to get our conversation started today. First up, we've got some members of the various buses associations from around the Federation, and they're going to be discussing all things related to bus operation and bus driving. So without further ado, we say hi and hello. Welcome the gentlemen to the microphone and also to the studios. Who is up first, Mr. President?
Good afternoon, EK. Thank you for having us. Good afternoon to the listening public, home and abroad. Nicholson Webster, President of the Westline Bus Association.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, Devon Keynes, better known as Smooth, President of the St. Peter's Bus Association.
All right.
Good afternoon to everyone out there in Radioland and on the World Wide Web. Good afternoon, EK. It's a privilege to have us here at Freedom. We normally come at Freedom, but at a different occasion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pleasure being here on this issue, because it's have some pressing issue. And I'm Vinsha Mangro, the Secretary Treasurer from the East Bus Association.
All right. So we've got East Line, we've West Line, and also St. Peter's. What's on the docket for today, the concerns?
Well, EK...
pull that closer to you.
Yeah, let me know if you're hearing me.
All right, good.
Clear.
Let's go now.
Well, EK, we wanted to come to the public. As you know, over the past 3 years, we've been trying to, get some changes within the bus fraternity in terms of fees, concessions, and those type of things. So generally, we really want to lay out to the public what we are facing, the physical condition of what's happening in the bus industry.
Mm-hmm.
Not only bawling and saying that, we want to increase and we want this and we want that, but we want to show where we have been hurting.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And we also want to lay it out so that the public could have a comprehensive understanding of what we face on a daily basis.
Okay, well, let's
Right?
do that.
Right. So I want to start off with showing that, on a day-to-day operation, a weekly operation, a monthly operation. So, for example, to operate the bus as a business, EK, day-to-day operation, fuel is a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I want to start there. Fuel is a big factor in your day-to-day operation. So, the guys, when we do run our numbers, on average, are burning $150 a day in fuel. Some guys are more, some are a little less. Majority of the guys are running at least $150 a day.
Okay.
When we crunch the numbers, them $150 a day, and we do a little maths. We have over 400 buses in the federation, and we use 400, and we forget about the something. 400 times 150, that's $45,000 a day in fuel. The gas station, them in St. Kitts, you divide that, $45,000 a day, and that's a 6 day. I didn't put 7.
Mm-hmm.
Most guys run for 6 days. That's $360,000 a week. That's 1.44 million a month. This is the kind of money that bus generating in fuel a day. Now, what I want to show the public, especially people who have cars and so forth, how much people can afford X amount of money a day in fuel? People who are going to work on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, will be balling. Fuel is a big thing from since COVID, and even a little bit before COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I want to say about fuel, since I end that first, we were promised that the fuel will be capped, I think, for the 4 or 6 months from August last year after the elections. That has never happened. And I'm surprised that when you have the journalists, them going in the media or whatever, they don't ask these questions.
Mm-hmm.
How come? This wasn't going to benefit the bus association, the bus fraternity alone. This is something that was going to benefit the country. Right? If you're capping fuel, $12, that would have significantly helped all the motorists in the country, not just the bus association. Right, EK?
Mm-hmm.
So, if we move on now from fuel, let's go on to the cost of a bus. The cost of a bus back in 2008, and that was the last time we had a price increase. the cost of a bus back then, a Nissan was 110,000. A Toyota was between 119 and 125,000. Today, and I have all the documents them here. Today, a Nissan is 168,000. A Toyota went up all the way up to 169, 178. I have a quote here from them for 185,000 for the standard and 206 for the automatic. We're not talking $2 EK. We're talking at least 50 to 60,000 gone on from since 2008, and we're still out here collecting the same money. And what I want to challenge the public with is that, tell me, name somebody, some industry that are getting the same money from since 2008. Right? Tell me. Right? We have a situation where in 2014 the government raised the minimum wage. Right? I heard the Prime Minister say that it irks him that the farmer administration didn't do something about the minimum wage. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because people trying to tie the minimum wage with the bus fare going up. So if it irks you that for the last 7 years that they didn't address it and the minimum wage went up in 2014, right? Before the Labour administration last, in 2015, the Prime Minister then gave an increase in increments. Before this last Prime Minister last, in 2022, there was another 10% increase. This has nothing to do with yearly incentives people would get working for the government, right? Increments.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm showing you that, well, the cost of a bus back then to now. Let's look at insurance. Insurance used to be 5,000 to 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, the highest max back in 2008. Now we have insurance ranging from 15 to 20 something thousand, depending on the coverage what you have. Now we get sometimes fellows cannot pay the 15 or the 20 or the 10,000 one time. So when they're paying for the bus, they have to be paying for insurance as well. So you got to pay for the bus, pay for your insurance, and still maintain the bus. When we have all these things to manage, right? We have oil. A quarter oil now is $45. Whether you use the gallon and the quart, I go up by Hasford, I have it right here. $248 for a gallon and a quart. You still need an additional quart to make it 6 quarts to service the bus. If you don't put on proper tires on the bus, you will burn tires within a month, 2 months. Busman like to use 8-ply tires. A 8-ply tire range from $395 to $895 for one. This is what we're facing. In expense, you have to change tires every 3 months. If you have 8-ply, you could get 4 to 5 months with an 8-ply. But the cost, you understand? Now, since 2010, when we went under the IMF program, St. Kitts, the duty-free was taken away. The duty-free concessions was taken away from St. Kitts bus associations only, even though it's one federation. So, from since 2010 up until now, we were unable to get duty-free concessions on the tires, brakes, pads, oil, and all these things that we had an agreement with the government. And this is important. The bus associations had agreement with the government that if we get these things duty-free, the prices would not move. This agreement was broken in 2010, and we are not getting any duty-free concessions. I have been fighting vigorously for this. The last update on the duty-free concession, the ministry telling us, oh, just bring your paper. But when we go to the business places is telling us that nobody had no conversation with them and they don't know how to work out the duty-free and not yours. So you understand what is happening. So we are saying we don't understand why it could be, so difficult to address these matters. No, we have written a letter to the Honorable Conway Maynard since he have gotten into office last year, August 5th. I went and meet with him along with one of my colleagues. He told us to write a report. We written to his ministry, 6th of September 2022. This is the document here. We had not received any response from this document that we written to them. We have had a meeting earlier this year, and it was not to address anything here. Right? We are seeking to get the duty-free concessions addressed, and we are also seeking to get the fees, the bus fees increase, and we want pay as you enter to either be a part of the law or they adapt it in the traffic regulations. Right? Also, we want the zoning. But let me just touch a little bit on the bus fees. As I mentioned earlier, in 2008, June, I have a document here stamped by the Ministry of Housing, Public Works, Energy, and Public Utilities. That is what the ministry was. The new bus fares, June 2nd, 2008. Half price for children under the age of 12. From camps to challengers, $2.50 per person. From Old Road all the way down to New Guinea, $3. From Sandy Point by itself, $3.50. From Newton Ground all the way to Parson Ground, $4. We're only collecting $3.75 EK because when they communicated this, it was not communicated properly, and $3.75 came out. But this is the document here. You can see it for yourself, right? Newton Ground to Parson Ground supposed to be paying $4, and the same thing on the other side. You see it there. Mm-hmm. We have been losing this money for years. We also have been losing with the concessions for years. This is the proposal we were proposing in terms of the bus fares them. To rectify, and start with from Newton Ground to Parson Ground. To rectify Newton Ground to Parson Ground on this side, and the same apply for the other side, we were proposing $1 across the board. And $1.25 down at that side to correct the 25 cents that wasn't related to the public. So we were proposing $1 across the board. Now, when we did our meetings and we came up with based on what we spend, based on what the cost of insurance and all that, and take into consideration COVID and all that, we figure that the bus fare should go up because we also look at Nevis, the neighboring islands and all that. We figure that the bus fare should go up $2 to $2.50 for each area. Because of COVID, we say we would ask for $1. We have not changed. We say we'd ask for $1. Now, I find it kind of funny that people, politicians could find $1 unreasonable for busmen. But I listen at town hall. And in the town hall, I hear man talking about 85% increase for ministers. Now, you don't even finish a year yet because Saturday is the 5th. But people saying, why it's worth mentioning to the public that that something happened before and it was approved and ministers, it was recommended that ministers get 85% increase. Have you ever heard any government minister, any party who in power discuss a 85% increase for civil servant in St. Kitts? You ever hear that any time?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Now, why there should be an assessment for government ministers' salaries every 3 years? Don't answer it, EK. Why for 15 years, over 15 years now, nobody thought that we need to look after this industry? The taxi just get an increase, and right now that behind the government asking for another increase. 15 years, no increase. And with all the costs I just show you, thousands of dollars. And one of the ways we lose money is people come on and paying $1 for the children them still in 2023. Sometimes they don't pay at all. You understand? A lady jump on the bus Monday for me. She said she want to go buy the bank up value mark. When she jump out, she said she not got no money. She not tell me that when she jump on. And I have weaknesses, and now they're going to laughing now. Because I say, I'm going to bring it up. You understand what I'm saying, Ike? Why politicians using the bus issue, which was the #1 issue during election, as a political football? Now, Ike, one of the reasons why I'm here is because now everything in St. Kitts, whether we like it or not, is political. The boss man them now saying that Labour in power and Rambo now pressure the government and Rambo tell us to vote Labour. That's what they say. I got voice notes. You want me to play one?
I believe you.
I could play a voice note. I got voice notes. I could show you. I like to provide the, you see how much documents I got here? I like to provide the information to the public. I am saying to the government, it is unreasonable that you in government for a whole year and you not address this bus situation in the country. Right? The numbers them I provide to you. This ain't got nothing to do with if the bus man them stay home. Every single sector in the country impacted by that. But you think that is bad? Let's go back to 2015 when the government changed. The former government introduced the transportation board. And the Labour, we had no transportation board. No. We still not got no transportation board now that they take office. You in government for a whole year and you ain't see it fit to set up the transportation board. I think that is strategic. The last administration set up the transportation board in 6 months. These guys are not serious about the bus industry. Hence, the transportation board is not set up. They asked us to submit we nominees. And they gave us a deadline. The guys are here. They gave us a deadline. January. We submit since January and up to now no transportation board can't set up. We followed up with Mr. Lloyd. Mr. Lloyd say, me no permanent secretary no more for no transportation board. Nobody come and inform us. And if you look out there, people telling you they're doing a good job. My last point before I give these fellas a turn. When the government got into power, the Attorney General come on and say, how he gonna put penalties in place to deal with bus drivers. He never come on, and I love him, you know, because he got a kind of spirit like me. He never come on and say, oh, we could address this situation. Let me call them and sit down and talk with them. He don't understand that these men out here got to be doing what they're doing because they can make ends meet. EK, you could imagine working 12, I mean, you had a bus, 12 and 13 hours a day. EK, that was very vexing to see that you come into power. You know that the bus association facing these things, you know, is the number one issue. And instead of coming to us to see how you could ease the problem, you're talking about new penalties. We are treated like we're not even human beings. You understand? That's how we are being treated. Like we ain't even human, we don't exist, we're not gonna have family, we not value nothing. It's just a bunch of jokers we be. How could you discuss penalties when you ain't even fix the situation we facing? This is a risk. If a man can't afford good pads for brakes, he gonna buy cheap one. The public will be at risk. He gonna run down the next man. And that is the situation accident can cause. It's a risk. These guys out there risking their life, not only in driving, but in health. Them man not eat no proper meal. Them man are dedicate 12 to 16 hours a day on the road. EK, it's disheartening. But how you could come mention now 85% increase for a minister? EK, if a minister get $10,000, that's $8,500, you know? You know that? Just imagine that. $8,500 if a man get $10,000. But you can't give the boss man them $1. The boss man them say, we gonna be reasonable. 200,000, 185,000 who a bus. I can't even see how a bus of passport could cost 168,000. Because when I look at mine and I look at that, I don't see nothing different. Maybe the headlight and the bumper, that's it. Everything in there, this mine look better than them. Everybody know the sexy bus. So I would like to give these guys a chance, you know.
The smoother you turn, boy. See what you can put here.
Yeah, EK. Well, we submit constantly when, you know, the President Prime Minister was in office, discussing the issues and the heartache and so forth. One of the main things, if not the main thing, what has hurt us is the working condition. You know, I'm doing this business for like 16 years now, and we never had a proper bus stop. You know what I mean? Yeah, never had a bathroom, you know what I mean, which would help passengers, bus drivers, nothing in place. You know, this was required. You know what I mean? We met, we discussed. Even with the former Prime Minister, we went to the same vibes just to get a proper spot. You know what I mean? Every day we got to go down, sit down, you know. And if I could say, to me, we living like dog. Because you go and you urinate this or so, and you sit down right there, and you eat your lunch, and we ain't come and you stand up on your shelter there, maybe under an umbrella, under a bush. To me, them things ain't right. You reach a point that, or even the plan to report, demand them to the health department. Because, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? To me, that just ain't adding up to check it out. And they just we got in quite a while now. You know what system is like. I mean, I tell you about that. You know what I mean? That was to go into budget. But apparently, when the budget was written, we ain't had no transportation board and no transportation board meeting to discuss these things with the PMR or whoever, or his assistant, to see, well, why could the force in terms of, you know what I mean, budgeting certain things, right, which he promised to the force. But nothing doing, you know what I mean? And I'll show you, the condition, it really don't mess with us. We will talk. Because imagine, we ain't come in, you got shelter and a leaf. You can't even go in your bus and put on your AC because you know gas a burn. We ain't come maybe for, let's say, half an hour. Gas a burn. And you see the price of gas right now. Gas just went up like yesterday for like $14.55 or something like that. You
went from 30 to...
So either way you put it, the bus man them losing. You check it out. You know, that one, that is the main thing that really, really vibes us. So what happened now? True, we ain't getting assistance from the bigger heads them. He puts in a position now that we got to kind of shift up things in terms of like, look at this way. No increase given for, it's a 15 years. No. When we're looking at the match right now, we as bus drivers, we got someone who there with us chadan, or with us carry passengers, which is not on the bus route. We now discussing adding a 50 cent to those routes, what is not on the bus route. You understand? Because this favor thing and the favor thing, it hard going to pay for your bus, pay insurance, and so forth. The third party insurance, them work. Once you ain't paying the bank, the insurance telling you straight they want all the money one time. So there's no half, no one half later. If you once the bank have interest in your bus. I went to do that the other day and they tell me buy now cash on the spot. Me had to come up with like $4,000 something, $5,000 cash one time, else they ain't working in a deal. So he hard for us. I love the work, so I trying to stay with it. I know his job, interact with people, different people, and so forth. But it's real tough, me boy, I can tell you.
Yeah, the mad saying.
But no, the mad saying, watch, should I tell me tell mechanic and all. Because I can't pay mechanic, so I got to tell mechanic. Try fix me one thing, tamper here and there.
Yeah, the stuff expensive.
I got videos.
Mash up 2 things, loan from one.
You do body work now?
Me do body works and all. To put fiberglass, and right now, I believe you got nobody better than me in fiberglass.
Yeah, man, but you're real type. I'm going to pass that to my brother, because we time limited, same way.
Yeah, definitely. We got about 10 more minutes.
Yeah, okay. Good afternoon again, and good afternoon to everyone again. This is Vinci as usual. I am a man always fight for the law, because I call in on the radio programs them all the time. Up to yesterday, I had to call in on the traffic talk to ensure that the police officers that up in traffic know the issues, because we having a big problem with the police officers, them doing their job what they're supposed to do. When I say having a problem, them not doing their job how they're supposed to. And that is why I called on the radio to let them know. I ain't keeping it behind nobody's back, because that's me. If I have something to say, I say it. I don't say things behind the people's back, and tomorrow I see you and I call out to you and you don't want to hear me, well, that you spoiling your own face, brother. Because tonight when I go home, I reset and get ready for tomorrow for more positive things. That's how I live, and that's what I've been portraying all my life. Because the amount of knockbout me to get for talking, for the right, and for the law. Among the people who say, "Oh, you ain't from here and you bang water." Well, let me tell you, I'm from Cunningham Estate, Lower Kean, and I've been representing St. Kitts worldwide. I was in England, had St. Kitts flag, and people messaging me, "What are you doing in England?" Well, hello, I'm with St. Kitts flag. So what do you think I'm doing, representing St. Kitts?
Okay.
I'm an ambassador. So when people calling me down about this and that, that won't bother me, because I have a big picture. I want to see this country move forward, and I want to see the law and order keep in place. So long as we have things on the book, let the books work. Let me see writing in the books. And I am calling on the police them to work with the busmen them in terms of getting things work properly. Because a lot of us taking this thing with this cost of living and everything to make this thing a dark fight now. There's a slang going on in this world, I guess. Yo, dog, what's going on? Well, apparently that's a normal slang now, so I don't want to use that there as the bus system now, because I could have used it before. That is a dark fight, it's not a business anymore. But now, soon that it's a popular slang now, I'm going to find a different word for it now. Because our business now is not a business. When I get into this in 2006, I was making money. I could have said, well, I could have taken a trip. Now I can't even take a vacation. I'm a man who like to go away. I can't even take a vacation. I mean, my boss is 16 or something years old. I'm trying to maintain it as much as I can. Right now, you want to fix up. But what? I can't do it because nothing doing in this business. Why am I going to invest what I'm going to get when you can't see the returns? And that is what I want people to understand. And I want our fellow bus owners and drivers to understand this. I preaching to you guys. You are my colleagues. We all doing the same job. We're supposed to be at one head. 1 year ago, EK, last Tuesday, gone there. 1st of August, make 1 year. I had a one-man demonstration down at the West Terminal.
That's true.
A one-man demonstration, asking my colleagues to understand that this business is for all of us, and no matter what government in, and I had on yellow, red, and orange to represent all the parties, because me ain't voting for no one party. I ain't no Labour man, I ain't no PAM man, I ain't no PLP man. So long as I see something going wrong in the country, that is what I'm going to deal with. And when you come to me gate for campaign, because that's the only time you see a minister. When you come to me gate for campaign, I'm going to tell you what the issue be. And if you can't deal with it, well, then me voting for your body. And I'm going to tell you plain. And I just say it in radio.
Right.
Because that's me. I have none to hide. I want to see policies happen and things to go forward for this country because we are a developing country. We keep hearing that from the ministers them and so. But why it is they have the people them not living develop? Why?
Well, let me ask you this though, because I've been trying to figure it out for the longest while when we talk about increasing. Why is it the government have to determine what you charge for your business?
EK, that's a great question. And in my opinion, I would love if they... So you ask why. So let me answer that in the short. Because it's the law. Right? It's regulated by the law that the government determine the taxi and the bus price. But what? Them are not determining the ferry price. I want to get in that bracket that the bus associations can meet based on what we are facing. We could determine whether the price need to go up or down. And that is where we need to get. But it breaks me heart to see that people out there don't really know what we are facing. When you got to look at EK, your brake pads and your car, how much you think you would pay for your brake pad? What if I told you that one of them Toyota bus up there, the front pad is $14.40? The back one is $900 and something. These are things we got to change regularly. You understand what I'm saying? 5 to 7 months. You know, if I genuine pads. You understand? Brake shoes. You know, if you can't afford to buy proper pads, it becomes a safety issue. So, with the limited time we have, what I would like to happen, I would like the government to address these issues in a serious way. You can't tell us, come bring a farm for duty for concession, and then nobody in your ministry know what's going on. You understand? You tell us, come, and nobody in your ministry know what's going on, and nobody who sell the toy them and the parts them, you not talk to none of them. So they don't know how to exchange that. That wasn't even the bad part for me, you know. Customs was a part of this. And they couldn't come up with a formula. What happened to all the money we lost that we had to come up out of our pocket? I have a document here that we sent to the Ministry of Finance. You understand? When we was promised by the former Prime Minister. When we put a list together, you remember?
Yeah.
Of parts for duty free. EK, we send that, we don't hear back from nobody. Nobody. You understand? When you got to look at a simple part, a guy called me about a bearing for his air condition. And it's a taxi guy, but he got the same bus what we use. Mm-hmm. He is telling me that to buy the bearing set up has for this 3,000 something for his air condition. If I will not make no money, why are we going to find any money for them things there? Eh? And if nobody has sit down and dialogue with us and ignore us when we call, because that's the trend now, ignore. You know why it's going on with this administration, yeah? Them man focus on the leaves and the branches and a neglect the root. I want them to understand that the boss man them is blaming me. Say, I tell them vote for Labour. Your success cannot be the demise that somebody has won. You understand? Mm-hmm. They accuse me of it and you realize me not run from it. So then, my God, you deal with us. Mm-hmm. Don't treat people under the boss. Deal with us. Deal with us. And that is what we're saying. So, for me, in closing...
You have a time frame in which you would like the situation to be addressed?
This was supposed to address since long time.
6 months ago?
Every day they talk about strike in the bus chat.
But then do it.
Every day they talking strike in the bus chat.
Do it. Watch. You got some people don't pay attention unless something actually run amok, you know. And you know, if the bus were to strike, what it's going to do to the economy. And you see how the economy running now. So,
I don't say this, right? I don't say this, I know I'm vexed at the business.
Stop talk.
The fact that I'm here is shameful on them. The fact that I'm here in front of you is shameful on them. I'm talking about 1 year. How you could assess your salary every 3 years, but 15 years pass, and your heart no feel no way. I can't bang home this no more. Your heart no feel no way. And we get information that they keep meetings on these issues and then I call us, because one of the things I hear coming out from them, they only could strike for 3 days. In leaving, let me tell you, I want to talk to the boss man them. If you ain't start to take your business serious, you're going to be your own demise. I ain't telling you to go out there to drive reckless. I know you got to hustle. I know the hustler doing the work. But I am telling you to work with the public as best as you can. And when the time comes, when we can't take it no more, well, somebody will got something on the record. And I done with that.
All right.
Well,
final words.
My two things is one, they pay as you enter. And I like to stress this because of the fact there's 3 consequences that can affect pay as you enter, what people don't understand. God is saying, bossman greedy. One, it's insurance. I don't know how much people understand that insurance have a clause that if you ain't pay, and the bus driver say, well, he get into accidents, God forbid. Say, well, this person ain't pay me, you would not be covered.
You would be covered.
I want people to understand that clearly. That is not then again nothing to do with bossman wanting no money. Then again nothing to do with that you should pay as you enter. 2, it saves your time and other people bosses time where they need to go. Because when you're going to jump out and say you want to change to $5 and $20 and some people $50 and $100, which we've been asking for this bill, the maximum of $20 to enter a bus. Still people are coming with $150 because what? Some of us own bus drivers allow it. Allowing this. And this is a next issue that can iron out if we all work together.
I agree.
3, it's going to save the time and the traffic. You're not going to block up no traffic like some people going to just stop and hail up a man, and when you blow, he make noise, he cuss you. When a bus driver want 2 seconds to just put off somebody, they're cussing bus man, oh, you're stopping here, you're stopping there. That's a big issue. So pay as you enter. Please, let's follow the pay as you enter. It saves all of us and it protects your life. You can go home with something if something happened to you. Your family can be protected still. Yes. So you got to think about that as well. Not just you jump in a bus, you get in an accident, blam, something happened to you, you gone in. You get something from insurance for your family who's left here. 2, this bus zoning. We can't stop saying about this bus zoning because it's necessary now. You just hear Rambo says over 400 buses, but I believe he miscounted now. He forget the past 3 years.
Yeah, you're right.
So I believe he miscounted now.
I think so, you're right.
So the amount of buses that we have here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we need to get a zoning area.
I agree.
And we don't propose that day out for the farmer minister, the farmer government.
Since 3 years ago.
And we present that day again.
Since 3 years ago.
So what does zoning have to do to, like, if you...
The zoning, you run in West,
you
have West 1 and West 2. Right. West 1 is Barstay to Sunny Point. West 2 is Barstay to Parson.
Okay.
You go in East, you get East 1, East 2. East 1 is Barstay to Molyneux. East 2 is Barstay to Parsons.
Correct.
Okay.
And then you have North 1.
North 1. Monkey Hill.
That's Monkey Hill.
Okay.
Yes.
Simple. I know it for sure to my soul.
Couldn't be.
He can't take 2 lines out of a paper to go in Parliament and say, look, this 2 lines, they want to go through the 3 reading, blah, blah, blah. I heard a give... that's something that is so... Well, I don't even want to talk about it because that has stressed me head out that they could have gone in 2.5 hours and pass a law, something like that.
But we know important.
And now you have something that can protect and help other people live as comfortable as they can possibly be at this time. Just to go in there and say, well, look, we put in a zone and we don't recommend what sticker we're going to use and them kind of things there. So it's not like we go in blindsided and say, well, we want a zone, we ain't get an option. We give you all the options. You understand, Ike? So that is my thing with this issue. The East Bus Terminal having a serious problem and we're trying the best to get it sorted out. Everybody wants to go down the West Terminal.
Yeah.
And I believe the Labour government in 1995, when they did Port Zante, they dropped the ball. Because from the time Port Zante started to develop, a bus terminal should have been right there where everybody used to go with the boots at Christmas time in front of Rams. Under the Cock and Hen tree, when Ellie Matwini Road March, come under there and play all the tune them.
Correct.
I got you.
You understand what I'm saying? So, fellas, let's work together. The government need to help us with this. Otherwise, we're going to have to do something by ourselves. And that is something we're running from for so long.
Unfortunate.
So long.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
All right, buddy.
Thank you,
Smooth, you want to drop a last word or you go to?
Okay, I want to thank you for having us.
Sure, no problem.
I know circumstances.
Yes.
But I really appreciate that. And all the best, brother.
All right, man.
Ike, thanks a lot again, yo.
All right, no
Big up
problem.
yourself, please.
All right, so those are gentlemen from the bus.